Hey there, it's Lauren Tarr, and I hope this video finds you well. This is my third video in my four-part video series on having a hidden illness. If you missed my previous videos, I came clean about having a hidden illness and I talked about my path to diagnosis. Today in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about exactly what my health condition is. And to be honest, this is probably my 40th attempt at trying to shoot this video. For some reason, every time I would shoot it, I would trip up on my words. I would get a phone call. My husband would walk in the door. My phone would run out of space. My dog would start barking. It was almost as if every single time I would try to shoot this video, something would come up to prevent me from shooting it. And after a while, I actually started questioning, am I meant to even put this video out there? And I kind of battled with that a little bit, but I know that this is something that is important to me, and I feel that it's important to share with others, and I hope that it can educate some people out there that might be going through similar circumstances that I had gone through in my life following up to my diagnosis, and I hope that it can inspire some hope for healing. So I am going to move forward with this video, and it may not be perfect, and I hope that you will bear with me. So thank you so much in advance. So what is it that I have? I have something called an MTHFR gene mutation. The acronym MTHFR, when I got my diagnosis, of course, the first thing I thought of was, wow, that looks a lot like Mother Effer. And to be honest, many of us that have this will laugh about that because it really does feel like an MFer sometimes. So an MTHFR, in all reality, it stands for methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase, which is quite a mouthful. And before I kind of dig into everything, I just want to remind you that I, although have done some research into MTHFR and while I've been working with healthcare practitioners, I am not an expert in MTHFR. So while I hope to continue learning and I do have a lot of information, I'm not an expert, and I can certainly not diagnose, treat, or cure anyone of their health issues. So I just want to put that out there for you in advance. And I'm going to really try to talk to you from a layman's perspective because this can get very complicated, and that's probably why I would trip up on a lot of my words in previous videos, because it can be confusing and complex, and I really want to try to make it as simple as possible. MTHFR is really not a mainstream diagnosis that people are talking about at this point. While doctors may be aware of what an MTHFR gene mutation is, they may not fully understand the effects on overall health that it might have on an individual, and they may not always be clear on treatment moving forward. MTHFR really is a newer finding. I think it's only been researched within the past 12 or 15 years. So there's still a lot of research to be done in the field. Oddly enough, though, since I got my diagnosis earlier in the year, I noticed that a lot of alternative healthcare practitioners have started to jump on the bandwagon regarding methylation, which is something that I'm going to talk to you about today. Today I'm going to talk to you about what an MTHFR gene mutation is. I'm going to also talk about something called the methylation cycle, which we all have in our bodies, and also just talk to you about my personal experiences. And if anything that I say resonates with you, I just want to say, do not panic. I did originally, but it wasn't necessary. Whenever you find out that you have this, it's really actually a blessing because there are things that you can do to improve your health and wellness and hopefully ward off complications down the road. So I will provide you with all the resources you need. I'm here to support you. I'm here to lift you up in prayer, and let me know how I can serve you. So what is MTHFR? MTHFR serves in our bodies as both a gene and an enzyme. The enzyme adds a methyl group to folic acid so that it can be used in the body as vitamin B9. When we talk about folic acid is really a synthetic form of folate that is used in vitamins and fortified foods like baked goods, cereals, breads, and really in a lot of different things. I looked at a carton of coconut milk last week and saw that it was also added in coconut milk. when you have MTHFR, basically you lack the enzyme to break down and utilize synthetic folic acid. So when you have the MTHFR gene mutation, I should say, basically you want to avoid folic acid. The MTHFR gene, like I said, it breaks down and utilizes the folic acid and folate in our body. So that's why, since we cannot produce enough of that enzyme, it's harder for our body to break down that synthetic folic acid. We also have a system in our bodies called methylation, and methylation is an extended biochemical pathway we have in our bodies, and the MTHFR enzyme is also involved in that cycle. The methylation cycle is responsible for some big functions in our body, and those include detoxification, DNA repair, immune function, energy production, and neurotransmitter regulation, also controlling inflammation in our bodies. So obviously you can see that it's responsible for doing a lot of things for us to maintain health. In my previous video, I had talked about being very sensitive all my life to medications, herbal supplements, environmental toxins, and alcohol. And I'll also say that when I would try a dietary detox of some sort, while others would come off of the detox feeling better, I would always end up feeling worse and more polluted than before the detox began. A good metaphor that I like to use in regards to an MTHFR gene mutation is almost like a toilet that doesn't flush. So you put toxins in your body, it has difficulty eliminating the toxins, so they circulate and float around in your body in areas that they're not supposed to. So obviously this is not ideal for health, and it can sometimes be dangerous. Obviously, since we lack that MTHFR enzyme in our bodies, when we have this mutation, our methylation cycle functions at a lower level. And that can depend, the degree to which that methylation cycle is affected is dependent on what type of mutation you have. And this can obviously create a wide array of chronic health conditions. And the list is long, but a list and health conditions that can range from cardiovascular disease, cancer, strokes, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, allergies, digestive issues, autism spectrum disorders, chronic fatigue syndrome, immune deficiencies such as fibromyalgia, aging, mood and psychiatric disorders, infertility issues, miscarriages, problems during pregnancy, and birth defects in children. More specifically, the most common birth defect is neural tube defects such as cerebral palsy. Knowing all of this, and the reason why I wanted to come forward with this is because when we look at how the methylation cycle is responsible for so many different parts in our health, I don't know why we don't hear more about it. Why isn't it being talked more? And for that matter, we should all, in my opinion, want to make sure that our methylation pathways are optimized and working the best that they can. When we talk about MTHFR gene mutations, I just want to let you know that there's still a lot of research being done, but there are 2 mutations on the gene that are have been researched, and those are the C677T mutation and the A1298C mutation. And there are 3 combinations in which those mutations can occur. So there's a homozygous, a heterozygous, and a compound heterozygous mutation. The heterozygous is when one of the parent passes down the homozygous mutation is when the same gene mutation is passed down from both parents. So basically you have 2 copies of the mutation. A heterozygous mutation is when one parent has passed down one of the mutations and the other parent passed on a normal gene. And finally, the compound heterozygous, which is when one parent passes down the 677 mutation and the other parent passes down the 1298 mutation, which means you have one of each. Just so you're kind of aware, I am a homozygous A1298C mutation, and Furthermore, my husband also has an MTHFR gene mutation, and he has the compound heterozygous mutation for the, so he has one of each. And I will tell you that I believe research done shows that maybe about 40% of our population is affected by an MTHFR gene mutation of some sort. Depending on which combination you have would depend on the severity of symptoms and the potential for health complications down the road. For me, I mentioned this in my previous videos, but I've struggled with digestive issues, leaky gut syndrome, high histamine levels triggering allergies and food allergies, hormonal imbalances such as low progesterone levels, which have made getting pregnant difficult, inflammation, on and off periods of anxiety throughout my life, and more recently I found out that I have low levels of dopamine and norepinephrine. Those are the excitatory neurotransmitters, and my grandmother actually passed away from Parkinson's disease, and knowing that I'm low dopamine, that can be a trigger for Parkinson's. So I was potentially on trend for Parkinson's before I found out about my diagnosis. There is good news though. While that could have scared me, and initially it did, when you have an MTHFR gene mutation, there are steps that you can take in order to open up and optimize the methylation pathways so you can live a healthy life and reduce your risk for greater complications in the future. So I'm going to stop this video here, and tomorrow I'm going to post my next video, and I'm going to talk all about how you can get tested if you think that you might have an MTHFR gene mutation. I'm going to talk to you about treatment options, and I speak of treatment with caution, and I'll explain to you about why tomorrow. And I will also talk to you about healthcare practitioners. So if this is resonating with you, please don't panic. I'm going to try to give you the lowdown on it all tomorrow, so I hope that you will stay tuned. Please like and share my post. I would love for you to comment below to engage in a discussion. I'll be opening up more to you tomorrow, so I hope that you'll stay tuned. And while you're at it, why don't you head over to my website at laurentarr.com. My website is not complete yet, but it'll at least give you a little introduction into what I am doing with my business and how I want to make a difference in this world. So thanks so much for watching. I would love to see you on my next video. So thanks for tuning in. Be well. Bye.